Hello, my name is Karen Bauer from Switzerland, Swiss TV. I want to ask you a question. It's sort of been asked before, but please answer newly for us because we've been talking to pensioners as well.
Sure.
We've been talking to a firefighter. He said, I risked my life twice for Detroit, once or for the country in the Vietnam War, once as a firefighter. Now the bankruptcy of Detroit might kill me and my wife, who depends on thousands of dollars worth of medicine. Why should I pay for the mistakes that the former mayors had done, the unions, the pension boards?
Right. Well, that's an interesting question. As I said before, first of all, let me say I'm sensitive to that firefighters. It's anecdotal, but I recognize a lot of people in that situation. One of them approached my mother this summer at a church conference in Kansas City and cried on her shoulder. She raised 6 children by herself. Her husband had abandoned her early on, and her pension and her health care as a city worker is all she had. Her mother called me crying. When your mother calls you, especially crying, you listen. So I'm acutely aware, and what I would say to them is, the promises that were made to you, if I could keep them, I would. The reality is there's $12 billion of unsecured debt. In this case, $6 billion of it secured of the $18 billion. So we take that out. Let's talk about the $12 billion. $5.7 billion of that is healthcare obligations. $3.5 billion of that is related to pensions. Only $2 billion of that is related to unsecured general obligation bonds. So this case is really about pensions and healthcare. We have to find a way to address those issues for the long-term solution. And unfortunately, there is going to be a cost which is perhaps unfairly borne by people who did nothing to deserve this.
But these
numbers, even if we wanted to pay it, we don't have the money.
These numbers are being disputed by the unions.
Fine, they can dispute them and they can say, okay, healthcare is not a $5.7 billion spend, let's cut it in half. Okay, instead of being $6 billion, let's make it 3. Let's say that pensions are not $3.5 billion spend, let's cut that in half. Let's say it's 1.75. We still don't have 4.75 billion.
Who is responsible for all of this? Just the last question, who is responsible for this bankruptcy? What would you say?
This bankruptcy is a culmination of a number of factors, some demographic, some objective, some bad judgment, some subjective. As I've said before, I've really tried to do this without making attribution or blame on who did it. What I can say is, it has been a long time in coming. There are no surprises here. If you have been listening to the Auditor General reports for the past 5 years, if you have been listening to the Treasurer's statement in 2005, if you've been listening more acutely in the past year and a half to the findings made by Detroit review teams, the consent agreement, the findings made by the governor, this has all been laid out over a number of years. Unfortunately, it has a severe cost to some people. We're just trying to do the best we can with what we have.
Okay, we'd love to have more.